What's going on YouTube? This is your boy Manny to the Max, and tonight or today, depending on when you're going to be watching this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my review on Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. The way I want to do this is I'm going to talk about the bad first, and then I'll talk about what was good. So whatever you do, you might want to hold on, because this movie has a lot of bad. Like, a lot. Like, I'm not even joking, like, no jokes, this movie was bad. There will be spoilers for this review, so if you don't want it spoiled, then watch a different review somewhere else. To start off, Raccoon City itself was shitty. It was a fucking shithole piece of shit town, which for me, as someone who grew up playing the Resident Evil games, I was extremely disappointed with that. Now, it didn't need, for me anyway, I wasn't expecting it to be like some big, huge metropolis. It didn't need to be all crazy and fancy like that. I understand it, you know, for budget reasons and, you know, stuff like that was one of the reasons probably why they had to make it look the way it did and all that shit. However, as I told you guys on my channel intro, I'm not pulling any punches. If something's bad, I gotta say it was bad. If it was good, I'll say it was good. And the setting of Raccoon City was just awful. The little whatever they did with the CGI of how the town looked was stupid. The town itself was way too small. It literally looked like, I don't know, maybe one of the producers or someone just blindfolded themselves, took a map of the United States, threw a dart and said, well, whatever shitty town this dart lands in, that's where we'll shoot the video. And it landed on, you know, shit town USA, and they said, yeah, we'll shoot the movie here, why not? Yeah, setting, trash. The other thing that I think was bad about this movie was the fact the whole orphanage thing was just retarded. I don't know why that was even included. That was dumb. I think they could have made a much better origin story for Claire and Chris. I think the orphanage was stupid. I actually would have personally preferred them not talk about them as they were kids, but I guess that's how they wanted to get in Lisa Trevor and, you know, a bunch of, you know, the behind the scenes stuff that Umbrella was doing. But honestly, I think that was stupid. Speaking of Claire and Chris, the relationship those two exhibited in the movie was atrocious. It really didn't make sense. They never really talked about too much why they didn't really like each other. It was just Claire shows up suddenly years later and they just start fucking arguing for no reason. Just, oh, you're a nut job, and oh, well, you're brainwashed, and it just felt too forced. It felt phony as I don't know what. It just, that should have not, if they were gonna have a rocky relationship, I think it could have been written a lot better. The other issue I took with the movie was that they tried to merge 1 and 2 together, which I think was a stupid idea. I think I appreciate the try for doing it, but I think what they should have done instead was focused on 1. There's a lot of material with the first Resident Evil game that they could have made work for a movie. I think that would have been much better had it been done right. I think even if it only got a little bit of success, I think they would have probably made enough money on this to be able to make a second one that they could have based on number 2, and maybe they could have merged Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 together. That would have made more sense because, as many of you Resident Evil fans know, 2 and 3 both take place in Raccoon City roughly around the same time. So I think personally that would have been a much better, smoother idea than trying to merge 1 and 2 together. The other thing that I didn't like was the fact that STARS was so small. And they had, in the beginning of the movie when they're in the diner talking, you see the 2 cops, I can't remember their names offhand, but they're talking like, oh, we're going up to the Arklay Mountains to go investigate the murders and blah, 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 blah. It was like, they're only sending you 2? There's like a mass amounts of people who have died, and they're only sending two normal regular cops up there. Well, I guess they were a part of STARS, but they looked like normal cops, and anyone who's played the games knows STARS has, you know, different uniforms to help them visually stand out from the normal Raccoon City police force. The fact that everyone on the helicopter, when Alpha Team went to go figure out what was going on, they were all like armed with MP5s, which to me took away from the survival horror aspect that I wish this movie had more of. Instead, it was like, well, if you're armed to the teeth like that, like, zombies shouldn't really be a problem for you. That might be more of a nitpick on my end, but I stand by it. To get into some of the character stuff, even the characters, I took issue with that big time. What the fuck was Jill doing lusting after Wesker? Never ever in the game, unless I was asleep or drunk when I played it, that never happened. There was never any romantic interest that they had in each other whatsoever. So adding that into the movie was stupid and completely unnecessary. Leon. Oh my god. What the fuck did they do to my boy Leon? They just fucking, I don't know, they just ruined him. Like, oh my god, he was acting like such a fucking beta. And he was acting just, he was an idiot. He was a bumbling, stumbling doofus. Like, it is terrible. They annihilated his character completely. It is tragic what they did to Leon. Like, they're having him, everyone's talking shit to him. They're like fucking with him in the restaurant in the beginning of the movie. The chief is like yelling and cursing at him, treating him like crap. Oh man, he's asleep on the job in one scene. He doesn't know how to operate weapons all of a sudden. And then that's when Claire comes in, and all of a sudden she's a firearms expert and is like gearing him up, and it's like, what? How, like, that isn't even in the game. Like, that's completely the opposite of what happened in the game. And before anyone gets crazy, like, oh, what's wrong with her knowing It's not about her knowing how to handle guns. That's not the problem. The problem is with her basically almost training this motherfucking doofus on how to operate firearms. He's a cop. He should know what the hell he's doing around guns, especially the guns that he's working around in his own department. So, Wesker was just also awfully written. I don't know what the hell was going on with him. He was not the cold, calculating, calm person that he is in the video game. This Wesker was somewhat oblivious, didn't really fully know what was going on. Even though they hint that he was working with a different organization who was against Umbrella, he still is stupid. It's almost like he doesn't even know how to lie, let alone, you know, do all of the things that made him a decent villain in the video games. So yeah, he was another horrible thing about this movie. William Birkin was terrible as well. I don't know why, when he transformed into G, I don't know why they had him talking in complete sentences and almost as if he was angry at Chris for I don't know what reason. Like, he's shit talking Chris to death. It's like, what did Chris do to you that made you have this much hostility towards him? Like, it didn't make any sense. It made no sense. And one of the final bad things was the fact that they used, actually that's not the final bad thing, there's another one. I'll get to it after this though. What the hell was the Umbrella Security Service doing blockading the town? That was just a stupid idea. I get they wanted to maybe do a reference to Hunk, but that was stupid. If that was their reference to Hunk, that was terrible. That was terribly done. That was a stupid reference, if that's what it was. Because Hunk's a badass. Anyone who's played the Fourth Survivor, whether it was in the old one or the remake, Hunk's a badass. He's cool as fuck. Probably one of my favorite characters, hands down. And they could have done something a lot better with him. even if they wanted to hold him off for another movie, I would have rather that than have this be the way he was referenced. That was just dumb. The zombies. What the fuck happened to the zombies? Because they look like balding, just balding, crazy, sick people. Like that, like what? Like their hair's falling out and they're like bloated and all this nonsense. Like the visual looks of the zombies, I think they could have did a much better job. Like, I mean, if you see, I mean, you think of any modern day zombie movie, Dawn of the Dead, even the older Resident Evil movies. If you look at The Walking Dead, like those zombies look like zombies. These zombies looked like, I don't know, melting sick people. That's all they look like. They look like melting sick people. That was just the way the zombies looked was just stupid. Now we're gonna switch gears and talk about the good. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't much that was good about this movie. To be completely open and honest with you, it wasn't much that was good. One of the good things that I think that they referenced in the movie was when they were in the diner and Jill made a reference about, would you rather be eaten by a giant shark or a giant snake? Which anyone who's played the first Resident Evil knows Neptune was the giant shark and the Yawn was the giant snake. So I thought that was really cool that they hinted at that. I think that was pretty neat for them to do that. The liquor. I don't know who did the CGI or the special effects for the liquor, but that person deserves an award. I think this liquor, for the most part, looked better than the liquors we've seen in the previous Resident Evils. The way it moved, the sounds that it made, it felt like you were almost like looking at a real thing. Like, I gotta give credit where credit's due on that one. The way they showed the liquor was a 10 out of 10. Lisa Trevor. I actually like what they did with Lisa, even though in the games she's a villain. I do like what they did with her by making her kind of like an ally in a sense. I think that was a pretty decent idea, especially knowing the history of Lisa Trevor, being that she was the daughter of George Trevor, who was the architect for the mansion, who was killed. Also, her mom, his wife, was killed as well by Umbrella. So I think it makes a lot of sense that she would help the characters in the film be against Umbrella. I thought that was really dope. Another cool thing about the movie was Chris's hallway fight in the mansion. That was on point. That was on point. I like the idea of the lights going out, and the only time you saw the action was as he was shooting his handgun. The flash would light up the area, and then you see the zombies get shot. And then he ends up running out of ammo towards the end when he only had like 1 or 2 zombies left. So then he pulls his knife out and he, does some melee combat against the zombies, which, goes right to the heart of Resident Evil being, survival horror. So I think in that scene they definitely stayed true to the games, and one of the things that many fans love about the series. Overall, I have to say, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City was a bad movie. I really wish it wasn't. I was really hoping that this movie was good. I was hoping that this review could be, me just basically kissing the movie's ass. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna lie to you on this channel. I'm gonna give you my honest opinion on what I think about whatever I'm reviewing, and that's the reality of what I think about this movie. So there you have it. Hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, do all that good stuff. Tell your friends, tell your family, and if you want more honest reactions and more, not sugar-coated, this is the place you need to be. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.